What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. Remember for the news. And here recently, Donald Trump was indicted in Georgia. And he has a mugshot. And this mugshot, you will see on all type of t-shirts and will become a rallying cry for Trump supporters. Now, the Democrats have to be extremely careful that when you try to assassinate somebody or kill the wrong person, you can create a martyr out of them. And even worse than a dead martyr is a living martyr. And Donald Trump has borderline become a living martyr for Trump supporters who are part of the Republican Party. And if they do not prosecute Trump on these indictments, they're in a bunch of trouble. All they're doing is giving Superman the sun. You're making him stronger and stronger and stronger. Donald Trump is the type of person who will tell you 7 truths and then he'll save the 3 good lies. And that type of person is extremely dangerous and extremely scary. Because if I tell your ass the truth 7 times and then I pick my 3 lies wisely, it's more likely you're going to believe those lies. But if I tell your ass 7 lies and try to hit you with 3 truths, you're going to think I'm completely full of shit. And Donald Trump, luckily for him, wasn't completely bought and sold. But all these people are bought and sold to an extent. But he wasn't completely bought and sold. And that's going to segue into this other guy that I'm going to be covering too, named Vivek Ramaswamy. But first, we're going to take a look at this Donald Trump mugshot and see if we can get some discernment out of this video.
Now, former President Donald Trump makes history once again, becoming the first president in U.S. history to have a mugshot. Trump posted the photo to social media last night, and his campaign is already fundraising off that image. Trump was booked yesterday at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta. GOP frontrunner for the 2024 presidential election has now been indicted in 4 separate cases, including these 13 charges Trump is facing for his alleged efforts to reverse Georgia's 2020 election results. Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis spent close to 2 years building the case against Trump.
And do I think this election was rigged? The last election from January 6th? Do I think that was some chicanery going on? Do I think something was rotten in Denmark? Allegedly, yes. Do I believe that there was some things happening behind the scenes where they were playing with some votes? Hey, I could be wrong, but I believe that it was. And I'm apolitical. I've been that way for a very long time. I just like to try to call these things the way I see them. Donald Trump feels like there was some bullshit and some cheating that was going on behind the scenes. And that election was extremely strange. Remember, Joe Biden ran that election from his basement. We never really seen him and never really talked to him that much. That was during the COVID era. So, yeah, I think it was some chicanery going on.
In the 18 other defendants, Willis intends to take this trial to happen on October 23rd.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
This case is likely going to drag on for many months, if not into next year and further, because it is such a complex case to litigate and also for the defendants to get up to speed on the discovery.
Trump was booked and released under a $200,000 bond, telling reporters afterwards, as you heard, that he did nothing wrong. Trump is back home at his New Jersey golf course this morning. The prosecutors pushing for a September 5th arraignment date. Jim? All right.
And like that man said, I said this before in other videos. It is, I didn't just take this talking point from him, but I've said it in other videos that I've covered in Trump about this whole indictment. This case is going to be very, very difficult to litigate. Look, I'm no lawyer, and I don't know the law like the back of my hand. But I do like politics, have covered this stuff for a while. And the complexities of this case is going to be ridiculous. And don't forget, all of the best lawyers who aren't a part of the case will be covering the case on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. So the best ideas that come from the public will be used in this case. You might hear something one day on TV, and then you watching, and the lawyers who actually part of this case hear that, and they might use it. I'm talking about from both sides now. So this is going to be extremely interesting. Donald Trump then wants this case to happen as fast as possible to get it out of the way, so he can go forward with this election. There's no doubt about that. But his running mate, Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, he made his bones during 9/11. He was the mayor of New York during 9/11. And when he made, a lot of statements, he was coming out, he looked like a leader, and people thought that Rudy Giuliani would be a future president. That never happened. But what did happen here recently, I did cover this case. Rudy Giuliani was caught pitching a tent. He was trying to have sex with one of his assistants, and he was promising the lady millions of dollars. And by the end of it, I think he gave the lady $500 and a coupon to Starbucks. And the lady was pissed off. But, white men and men of power, whether it be black, it don't matter, Asian, men of power, when they have assistants around them, they tend to sleep with those assistants. That's not nothing new. That's nothing new under the sun. But let's take a look at Rudy Giuliani and see what he has to say.
Who paid for your jet down here, Mr. Giuliani? Do you regret attaching your name
That man just started out his question. Who paid for your jet down here?
to the former president? Why what? You regret attaching your name to the former president?
I am very, very honored.
He looks just like the penguin. Watch how he laugh. He laugh like the penguin. Watch him.
Mr. Giuliani. Do you regret attaching your name to the former president? Why what? You regret attaching your name to the former president?
Look at the penguin.
Very, very honored to be involved in this case, because this case is a fight for our way of life. This indictment is a travesty. It's an attack on not just me, not just President Trump, not just the people in this indictment, some of whom I don't even know. This is an attack on the American people. If this can happen to me, who is probably the most prolific prosecutor, maybe in American history, the most effective mayor for sure, it can happen to you.
Does that hold some weight? Yes, it does. For all the flaws that Rudy Giuliani has, he actually spoke a little bit of truth right there. This prosecution is all political. If Donald Trump was not running for president again, he would not be getting prosecuted. I promise you that. So it's one of those things. We're going to keep our eye on that case. We're going to keep covering that. But this leads into something else. Of this Vivek Ramaswamy. He has become a problem for the establishment Republicans. And like I said, everybody whose name isn't Donald Trump. Mike Pence, who is a Reagan-era Republican, also is battling with this man now. He seemingly came from out of nowhere. I seen him on the Breakfast Club like a month ago. And before that, I seen him here and there sporadically. But when you hear him speak, he speaks clear, he speaks precise, and he seems like he has something in common with Donald Trump. He can tell you 7 good truths, and he can mix in 3 good lies. And those people are extremely dangerous in politics. And he's already a billionaire. So he doesn't really need to be bought. To an extent, all of these people are bought and sold in some way, shape, or fashion. No matter how you slice it, he's part of some kind of club in America. Whether it be Skull and Bones, whether it be Cloak and Daggers, whether it be what you would quote unquote call the Illuminati. He's a part of something. There's no doubt about that. But when you're dealing with politics, these politicians are bought by particular corporations sometimes. And they have backing. So they have to tiptoe on what they say and how they do it. They have to be extremely careful not to piss off their donors, the people who's funding their campaign mainly. So when you're dealing with these people on a stage and they can say what they want to and you can't, your ass is in trouble. Let's take a look at this. Vivek Ramaswamy.
So the reality is we have a crime wave in this country and we know how to fix it. The question is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More cops in the streets who are on the streets able to do their jobs without looking over their shoulder for getting sued. And we also have a mental health epidemic in this country. Just over the same period that we have closed mental health institutions, we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based.
And by the way, he's made his money in big pharma too, pharmaceutical company. So, that's why he named those drugs like that directly and individually. Yeah, he named those two drugs directly and individually because he comes from that world.
Approaches can play a role here too. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. And I say this as a member of my generation. The problem in our country right now, the reason we have that mental health epidemic is that people are so hungry for purpose and meaning at a time when family, faith, patriotism, hard work have all disappeared. What we really need is a tonal reset from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for the rule of law. Yes, we will close the southern border where criminals are coming in every day. And yes, we will back law enforcement because we remember who we really are. And that's also how we address that mental health epidemic in the next generation that is directly leading to violent crime.
Can I speak on Governor DeSantis really quickly? Governor DeSantis, we don't have an identity crisis. We're not looking for a new national identity. The American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic, hardworking people the world has ever known. We just need government as good as our people.
Those are old talking points that Mike Pence is saying. Mike Pence has been in politics for an extremely long time. So, all of these people, to an extent, are actors. All politicians are actors. They're paid actors. And they're usually bought and paid actors. Just like in Hollywood. They get up here, they get a script, they read off teleprompters. They try to sell you with their voice, the pitch, the volume, all of that shit. They practice all of that shit over and over again till they can perfect it. Obama was one of the best at it. That don't mean he was the best president of all time. I'm just like, nobody in the history of politics had a better speaking voice than Barack Obama. That doesn't mean he had the greatest policies, but that means like he was able to sell shit with his words. They say conversation rules the nation. And Obama was able to win over people with his voice. And Pence, he doesn't have that. His voice, he sounds like a robot. And that shit might have worked in '89, but today's day, that's not going to work. People want to hear shit that they think they probably wouldn't have heard. That's important. Pence doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell at winning anything. I mean, all these guys would have to die off, literally, in a plane crash. But, he's up here trying. Some of these guys are trying for the next election.
Well, Mike, I think the difference is you might have, some others like you may have on the stage, it's Morning in America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in a dark moment, and we have to confront the fact that we're in an internal, sort of cold cultural civil war. And we have to recognize that.
People with the failed government in Washington, D.C. We just need government as good as our people again.
So I can
Well, most of the people in the United States are washed. A lot of us in the country on drugs that be legal pharmaceutical drugs, but they're just as dangerous as the shit that's coming across from Mexico. You have the fentanyl crisis. You have the opioid crisis, methamphetamine. All these drugs and marijuana, the usage is as high as it's ever been. Alcohol abuse is high as it's ever been. No, this is not the same people, Mike Pence. These people are a different breed of people, a different kind of people. So you have to talk to these people in a different way, and they want a different message coming from a different person. The only thing that's going to hurt Ramaswamy is he's damn near dark as me. And he's an anchor baby. He might have been born in America, but his parents were not born in America. So I think he's from either India or Pakistan, one of those type of countries. But he's an American, but is he an American? So that's going to be his biggest problem. But his message for the Republican Party is on point on what they want to hear outside of what Donald Trump. Now, what makes this good for Ramaswamy is that Donald Trump has a lot of legal issues. And what happens if Donald Trump somehow actually get convicted? It's going to be extremely interesting to watch.
Slogan, because I don't know what that slogan means. We need to shut down the administrative state. That's actually how we translate.
Crime has been on the rise.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, clip.
But Vivek Ramaswamy is a problem, and he's come out of nowhere, basically. And these are the scariest type of candidates. People who come out of nowhere with a message and don't seem to be backed by anybody. Obviously, he is from somewhere, but he has his own money. And you just can't easily buy him off with a few trinkets like the rest of these guys. All the rest of them guys who were on stage, whether it be Chris Christie, whether it be Mike Pence, whether it be DeSantis, all these people are bought and sold so easily. They're passed around like an $8 Tijuana hooker. So even the American public at this point knows that. So it's hard to sell that shit with so much information out there on you now. It really is. Let's hear Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's hear him speak on Mike Pence attacks.
Starting from 0.0% in the polls in March to where I was today at the center of the stage, at the center of taking attacks from another establishment politicians that I take as a badge of honor. By the way, they're good people. They're just good.
You heard that? That was a slap to their face. Hey, they're basically just they good people, man, but they just puppets. They have to do and say what they're told to do. Me, on the other hand, I'm free as a bird. I can say what I want to say, and I can do what I want to do. That's real Donald Trumpish.
That is, I think, a great way to just kick off the next phase of this race. And the way I look at it is, we're just getting warmed up. People in this country do face a choice. If you want somebody experienced who has actually been part of the system that's given us all of the problems that we're suffering today, go with the guy who crashed your car 20 times. Turn over the keys to him again. But if you want to actually find a new way forward, to say this is what we're running to, not just what we're running from, it will take someone from the outside. It will take someone of a different generation. And I think Mike Pence coming out with the experience differential, I think that's a great thing. Because I don't think the people in this country are interested in going back to people who recite slogans they memorized in 1980.
Well, keep your eyes on that guy, Vivek Ramaswamy. Let me see it. It's going to be fun to watch it. I can't wait to see him and Donald Trump in the same room. That's going to be fun. But let's take a look at this. Retired cop killed 3 in biker bar in California. Now, this was a mass shooting, but they're not calling it that. Do I understand why? Yes. If I was them, I wouldn't. But since I ain't them, I'm telling you this was a mass shooting by a police officer. But you don't want that out there. You don't even want that type of energy out there or cops are doing mass shooting. But let's take a look at this clip and see what the hell's going on.
Time 7:04. Mr. Snowling entered Cook's Corner. We believe he had 2 firearms in his possession. He then went directly to his wife, who was within the business portion, the interior portion of Cook's Corner. By witness statements, we do not believe that there was any argument that ensued. He drew a weapon. He fired upon his wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, through divorce proceedings. She was struck once by gunfire. We do know that somebody who was sharing a meal with his ex-wife was also shot at and struck by gunfire.
Oh, okay, this is about his ex-wife. So I'm thinking if this was a retired cop, he's older, obviously. He probably had a little younger wife. That's what I would be thinking, because usually older women ain't headed to goddamn biker bars, and bikers don't want no old washed up hags. And bikers are equivalent in the black community to what gangbangers are. They usually have sex better. Yeah, they fucking a little better. They got a little more energy. They're a little more raw with you. They might pull on your hair, slap you on the ass, tell your ass get in there and cook them something to eat. They just a little more aggressive. You basically dating the white version of a Crip or a Blood. They have plenty of time to fuck and ride bikes. A lot of them do drugs. They drink. They smoke. They laugh. They dance. They party. So you're going to get a different energy. I'm thinking that his wife was a little bit younger than him, or a lot younger than him. That's what I'm assuming. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming she was a lot younger than him. So, yeah, he wasn't going to let that shit happen. and he's ready to go out in a blaze of glory.
Mr. Snowling, the suspect, then started randomly shooting at patrons within Cook's Corner. That progressed to the outside area. This is that area here. This is where the suspect was located. The gunfire ensued and where he was shot.
You ever notice white biker bars always got a goddamn eagle somewhere? I don't know what it is about white biker bars. It's always a goddamn eagle fucking spread somewhere. I don't care where you go in America. You're going to see an eagle somewhere. They said, I seen on a little door they had a damn eagle.
By our deputies and ultimately succumbed to his injuries. The suspect, John Snowling, 59, residing in Ohio with a residence here in Southern California, was the individual who shot and killed 3 people and injured 6 additional.
And when you travel that far, that's obviously premeditated. So he drove that long distance. And in his mind, he was saying, I'm supposed to kill this bitch. And I'm going to kill that goddamn biker who's slinging that goddamn rod on her. I got his ass. He going to die on his Harley Davidson tonight. So he was serious as a heart attack. He wasn't playing. He came from Ohio. They say he also had a residence down there. She probably was using that residence as a little small sex hut. And he said, not today. Unfortunately. I don't believe men should throw it all away over a woman. But this is the world we live in. We stay in a society now that is borderline faithless. Are there a lot of people still believe in God? Yes, but it is more. There are more people who don't believe in God now than there's ever been in the history of the United States. So
we're still gathering information about him and what his motives were.
They lying. They know exactly what his motives were because all you got to do is look into his text messages, emails. Yeah, that's not. See, they telling you that because obviously they don't want to divulge all the information, but obviously it was his ex-lady. Somebody had to pay. Them bikers was putting that guy. Them bikers was shoving it in her garage, and he couldn't. They was putting their bike in her garage. And he couldn't take it.
He's a retired sergeant from the Ventura City Police Department, retiring in 2014, and we believe he traveled from Ohio with an ongoing dispute regarding the separation and pending divorce with his wife.
Well, plainly obvious what the hell just happened. Them bikers was parking in somebody else's garage. And it is what it is. These type of things happen. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? There's nothing you really can do about that. It's a dangerous game out here for women, especially when you're dealing with guys who don't believe in God, has no faith at all. I guarantee this man wasn't a God-fearing man, because a God-fearing man, he would never do shit like that. But unfortunate, but it is what it is, you guys. Treated radioactive waste from Japan, and I think it was a nuclear little nuclear energy company. I remember they had that goddamn earthquake and tsunami off the coast of Japan, and that nuclear reactor was collapsed and was melting, and it was a huge catastrophe. So now I guess they're going to pump the water into the ocean. But I think I might cover that later. I want to go to this. 98 arrested in child sex abuse investigation that leads to the lives of 2 FBI agents being killed. Now, I always like to put my little collard green tinfoil cap on from time to time. And these 2 being killed, I thought, was this just random? Because the person who they said killed him is dead, and them 2 are dead. And what else did these 2 know? Who else were they investigating? Those are great questions to ask. Now, it could have just been what they said it was. They went to serve a warrant and, raid a house and they were killed. Or there could be something rotten in Denmark. Let's take a look at the clip. And, these sexual abuse cases, I done covered so many of them over the years. Look, over 800,000 kids go missing in America every year. I'm alleging that there is a conspiracy, and that not even a conspiracy, that this is a huge child sex trafficking ring in America that is headed by super rich people. But The people who actually running it are just regular, everyday people. And I've said this for years and years and years. So this is not new. I'm not just making this video. Like I said, I made this video right here. White people's pedophilia and meth problem. I made this video. Let me see exactly when I made this video.
What's up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the YouTube channel, Sports Like Politics.
I made this video April 8th.
Today's video,
Hold on. I made this video April 8th, 2022. So it's been over a year ago when I made this video. And when I say white people's pedophilia and meth problem, all white people aren't on meth, obviously, and all white people aren't pedophiles. Obviously, there are good white people who just go about their life trying to be decent people who are God-fearing. So I don't want to paint every white person with a broad brush. I would never do that. And that goes all the way back to slavery. Even back then, everybody didn't agree with that shit and everybody wasn't on board with that. So throughout history, they ain't been every single, so I don't want to, But the point is, within their group, just like in the Negroes when we had the crack era in the 90s, 80s and the 90s, the face of the crack era was the Negro's face. Was that legitimate? Absolutely. Were there other races using crack other than white people? I mean, other than black people? 100%. We know that for a fact. But predominantly, black people were the progenitors of using and selling the crack within the neighborhood. So we got the face of it. Now, we wasn't shipping the cocaine from Colombia and all. Y'all understand all that. But I'm saying right here in America, it was our face. Now, the face of pedophilia and meth is white people. Does that mean that there are other races who are indulging pedophilia? White, black, Mexican, Asian? Obviously, other groups other than white people deal in pedophilia. Methamphetamines. Is there other people who deal in fentanyl? Yes, but the face of it is white people. There's no doubt about that. And I covered that case. And in this case, the reason why I want to pull this up, because in this video that I made, there was a huge child sex trafficking ring where they had like a group where the only way you can stay within the group is you had to post new pedophilia clips. New. That's the only way. And the more you posted, the more you became like VIP, the upper part of this pedophilia ring. And in this video that we're about to watch, the clip actually goes to Australia. And I found that really strange. I'm like, wow, they still having the same problem in Australia. And I covered that shit over a year and a half ago. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at the clip.
And right now, dozens of suspects arrested in connection with a child sex abuse investigation that turned deadly for two FBI agents in South Florida. Danielle Alphin and Laura Schwarzenberger were shot and killed in 2021 while serving a search warrant in Sunrise connected with that sex ring.
And now, years later, nearly 100 people are facing charges. Local Times Rosh Lowe joins us from FBI headquarters in Miramar with the details.
Years ago, we had two FBI agents who lost their lives in the line of duty. They were investigating an alleged child abuse ring. Now today, the FBI is saying nearly 100 arrests have been. It was February 2021.
And let me tell y'all this. They make these arrests because within the FBI or the CIA or with any kind of investigative group that's in America that's part of the government, they're allowed to make so many arrests, but they're not allowed to go after the people who are really funding these pedophile rings. And if their name is too big, they won't let you go after that person. It's like with Jeffrey Epstein. He was going to expose everybody. He had to go. They'll never let you get to the crust of all of these people. And let me say this while I'm on this point before I forget. Oprah Winfrey don't run shit. I want to say that. Oprah Winfrey is a Luciferian. There's no doubt about that. Oprah Winfrey owns land in Maui. So does Mark Zuckerberg, and so does goddamn Jeff Bezos. When push comes to shove, who you think really is running shit? Jeff Bezos is worth $158 billion. Mark Zuckerberg is worth $110 billion. Oprah Winfrey is worth $2.5 billion. When they in the room together, who you think calls the shots? Who you think run like whole sway over shit? Oprah Winfrey, they love to put a Negro face out there. Yes, she is part of the same agenda that as the rest of them. But the reason why her face is out there is to take up the energy from them, of those other guys. So you don't focus on the Zuckerbergs or you don't focus on the Bezoses. You focus on Oprah. And Oprah is part of that agenda. But believe you me, she ain't no goddamn big time shot caller amongst these billionaires who have hundreds of billions of dollars. That's just not true.
Sunrise, when the FBI says suspect David Huber opened fire on FBI agents Daniel Alfin and Laura Schwarzenberger. They were serving a warrant at his house for crimes against children. Agents lost their lives. Huber died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to the FBI today.
How convenient. Like I said, look, he could have actually killed both of them. Or it could be something far more ominous where they had to go because they knew too much and they was closing in and they was getting too close to people that they shouldn't be getting close to.
The FBI announced 98 people have been arrested in connection with child sex abuse, 13 children rescued from harm.
We see it as a significant outcome, and I think that this outcome should definitely...
She's from the Australian Federal Police Commander.
Training on our most vulnerable.
She is the police commander. I'm sorry. Australian Federal Police Commander.
Authorities say the Sunrise case very much connected as the agents who lost their lives were investigated for alleged rape. The search warrant was served on a computer program suspected of having child pornography.
Of course he did.
More than 2 years ago, authorities say Huber was watching the agents approach to his video doorbell when he opened fire, killing them and injuring 3 others. The investigation into the alleged ring stretched to Australia. Authorities say the suspects ran a complex network where child abuse material was shared on the dark web. Alfin and Schwarzenberger dedicated their lives.
Really demonstrates, I think, the commitment.
And let me say this, them 2 people were white people. And in my eyes, them 2 people were heroes. Even within the FBI, there's always good and evil. Even within some of these groups, some of these people actually want to do good. They actually want to try to prosecute some of these child sex crimes. And like I said before, the people who just so happen to be in charge of all of these pedophile rings just so happen to be white most of the time. That's why I say it's a problem amongst their race. Just like Negroes have a problem amongst our race. Every race, Mexicans have a problem with the cartels gouging people's eyes out and fucking decapitating people. Asian, Chinese, they have problems in China with harvesting organs and selling organs and people coming up missing. It's all type of shit. Every group has a problem now. It ain't just the Negro.
We have across the country and how we can connect in internationally.
And the FBI made it very clear today that these types of investigations are very much ongoing. Outside the FBI headquarters in Miramar, I'm Rosh Lowe.
Look like he might have been watching little kitty porn. Allegedly. But, you know, I'm just bullshit, but you never know. But, you know, I just want to go over those clips, you know, today. Donald Trump mugshot, Vivek Ramaswamy. In this case of child sex trafficking and child abuse and sharing of pedophile material that is happening worldwide as we speak. You know, sad situation. But we got to stay on top of it. And let me go over this right quick before I go. They say, well, Maui is suing Hawaii Electric Company for failing to shut off the power. We talked about that. So they do have a lawsuit, 36 seconds.
Maui is suing Hawaiian Electric Company over the deadly wildfires that devastated the state. The county alleges the utility negligently failed to shut off power.
So they failed to shut off the power. They failed to sound the alarms. And they also failed to, what was the other one? It was to set off the alarms. And they failed to, and they also turned the water off. That's what it was. So they didn't set off the alarm. They didn't set off the power. And they goddamn shut off the water. All by accident. Everything happened was just coincidence.
By high winds and dry conditions. Fires ignited August 8th, killing at least 115 people. Hundreds more are still missing. The lawsuit says the utility has a responsibility to maintain transmission lines and vegetation around them
and it knew high wind would topple poles. Hawaiian Electric did not immediately respond to the Associated Press comment.
Well, that was the end of that. I just wanted to go over that clip. Hawaiian Electric Company, obviously, they're going to be suing those people, and there's going to be massive lawsuits. But shit, I don't know how many people could. I mean, it's going to be complex because there's so many people whose families would have to sue, and then they're going to have to prove that the actual power lines caused the fire. So it's going to be complex, but I think eventually everybody will get paid. But, I just want to go over those clips. This has been Sports Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel, YouTube's #1 couch detective. I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on one hell of a ride.